everybody, welcome back to the Distressed Princess. Today is a special challenge day. It is a thrift flip challenge. The host for this challenge is Savannah from Savvy Crafts with Savannah and Shayna from Shayna Robinson Repurposing, and I love them both. They are right up my alley style-wise. They do wonderful farmhouse crafts and other things too. And I know that you're going to love them too, so be sure to check out their channels. The links for their channels will be in my description box down below, along with a playlist so you can see what everyone has flipped. So without further ado, let's get on with the flipping. That's a mouthful. The first flip is using this cutting board that I got at Goodwill for $3, and it's really heavy. It's really chunky and heavy, and I liked that about it. And I debated for a long time if I was going to leave this its natural color or if I was going to paint it. And if you're on the side that thinks that I shouldn't have painted it, I'm so sorry. But I decided it needed to be white. So I used Rust-Oleum chalk paint in linen white. I gave it just one coat, so it looks kind of whitewashed a little bit. And then I used a 120 grit sandpaper to distress around the edges, and it distressed so beautifully. This is the reason why I wanted it to be painted white, because I had this ribbon that I found at the Dollar General. It was only $2, and it's so cute, don't you think? And even though I'm not a huge fan of red, I just had to buy this. So I knew I wanted to decorate with that ribbon, and I also love grain sack stripes, so I'm using this gray chalk paint from Michael's to put on some grain sack stripes. Now this is the easiest way to do the grain sack stripes on something like this. And you could be precise. You could get out a tape measure, a ruler, you know, and measure out exactly what width you want these stripes to be and all of that. But I just eyeballed it all, and that worked out just fine for me. As long as you think that the stripes are level. That's the thing that's most important to me, is that the stripes are running crooked. So you might use a level if you're afraid that you might get your stripes crooked. So then after I lay down the masking tape to make my stripes, push down along the edges to minimize the bleeding of the paint under the tape. And then I just did 2 coats of the gray chalk paint. Before the chalk paint is dry, you want to take your tape up while it's still wet. That way there's no peeling of your gray paint when you peel the tape up. The beautiful ribbon is going to go across the bottom of this cutting board, and I'll just hot glue that down and wrap it around the back. And if you wanted it to go all the way around the back, I kind of wish I would have went all the way around the back so it would have a more finished look. But I guess I didn't want to use up all my ribbon, and the back isn't going to be seen. So to save as much ribbon as I could, I just wrapped it a little bit around the back. You could stop right here, and this would be a really cute decoration for your kitchen, but I wanted it to be functional. Since I took away its function as being a cutting board, because I won't be able to cut on it, I decided to make it a recipe holder. And I had these curtain rings. You can get them a pack of, I think a pack of 10 at Walmart for just a few bucks, like $3. And I've just had them laying around and I want to use the clippies off of them. So I used my wire cutters to bend the little metal hook that's inside of them that attached the clippy to the ring. I just bent it and it was really easy to get that little clippy part off of the ring. I'm using 2 because they're so small that I felt like I needed 2 in order to make it look right. But if you don't have anything like this, if you don't have any clips or anything metal, I wanted metal, you could use clothespins, the small clothespins from Dollar Tree, or regular size clothespin would be cute too. And I would paint it black, but that's just my preference. I really love how this turned out with the stripes and the ribbon and the little black clips. And I love that it kept its functionality, even though it's not the same purpose it was made for. I think I like it even better. If you like this idea, remember to give me a big thumbs up, please. The second flip is using this paper that I found at a thrift store. And I'm not really for certain what this paper was made for. There's 2 sheets on this little pad, and I got it for 25 cents. But I knew right away when I saw it in the thrift store, I wanted to frame it. And this is a frame I got on clearance at Hobby Lobby for $2.49. It didn't have any glass or anything with it. These are so easily found everywhere. I used my roller cutter from the Dollar Tree to cut a piece of this pad of pretty paper into the size that I needed. And oh, I almost forgot. I did remove the top page to use for another project. So there's only one print and then the cardboard backing. Now the frame I wanted to be white, so I painted it 2 good coats of Rust-Oleum linen white. As always, I used my hair dryer to speed up the drying time, and then I used 120 grit sandpaper to distress the edges and the inside edges of this frame. And this was another one that sanded, it just distressed so pretty. I'm so happy with these projects today. Making sure that the print was all looking nice on the front side, I flipped it over and I got out my heavy duty staple gun and I stapled 1 in each corner, 1 on each end, and 2 on each long side. And I think this is perfect for a neutral farmhouse spring decoration. Now, if you wanted to hang it on the wall, you could either add a hanger to the back using jute string, or you could do like I'm going to do and just use command strips. Sometimes it's so surprising what you'll find at the Goodwill. This was so cute for only $3. It just needs a little love. So the first thing I did was remove the sticky Goodwill sticker price tags. And I'm using a scraper from the Dollar Tree. I've recently found these. I've recently fell in love with these because they help so much in getting sticky stickers off of things. And it's going to help me remove this flower that was down in the corner. The flower was really cute. It's just it was tore up, so it needed replaced. These Dollar Tree scrapers are so awesome. Look how it's just peeling off that hot glue from that flower. I failed to mention in the first DIY that when I buy things from Goodwill or thrift stores, I like to clean them before I begin using them. And obviously I couldn't clean the paper that I used in the last DIY, but you know, this I could. So I like to clean it all up and then begin to decorate. These are wood flowers that you get from the Dollar Tree, and they are so neutral farmhouse pretty, and I had 2 of them, so why not use them both? After removing them from their packaging, I needed to cut them down some because they were a little too long. So I just used scissors. They're really easy to cut through. And then I used hot glue to attach them to the board. Of course, you can do this very same DIY just using a board, staining it, and if you have a Cricut or a vinyl cutter, cut out the words, and then go get these pretty bouquets from the Dollar Tree, and you can do exactly what I'm doing. This stalk or twig or limb or whatever you think they might be called, I felt like he was just a little too bulky, so I trimmed him down. You can do so according to whatever looks good. I'm sure that not all of these are identically the same, so just trim it down to whatever you think looks pretty and hot glue it all down in place. Lazy Bones Piper, he took the day off and he'd been laying around in the bed, and he finally decided to pop in and see what I was up to, and you'll see in a second, he gets all up in the business. Now, this ribbon is another really pretty ribbon that I found at Dollar General, and it was only $2, and this lace design is so pretty, so pretty. And I knew I wanted to use it. The colors were perfect, but I tried to make a bow, but sometimes I just get tired of bows, and I don't know. I didn't feel like this one required a bow, but I did want to use the ribbon somehow. So I decided to kind of wrap the bottom of the twig bouquets in the ribbon, and which was, I should have thought about that before I hot glued them down. So word to the wise, if you're going to do it this way, wrap it first and then hot glue it down. So a craft that someone else made and wound up in the Goodwill got new life at my house. And the last flip for today is using this antique frame. I didn't realize just how antique it was. It was only $1 at the Goodwill, and when I took the glass out and the backing, I saw on the back how old it really was, and that made me really question whether I should do this part or not, whether I should paint it. But I already had planned, you know, what I wanted to do with it, and so it needed to be white. So I used Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I gave it 1 coat of white. This is the backing and the old faded white paper that was included when I bought it. I'm going to use this tissue paper from the Dollar Tree. I really loved the print on this. I think it's so pretty for spring, and that's why I wanted to paint the frame white because, oh my gosh, this is so pretty against white. I traced around the backing onto the tissue paper to get the correct size that I needed, and my plan is to decoupage this tissue paper right onto the backing. If you've never used one of these, it's tape glue, and I found them different places. And this one came from the Family Dollar for just $1, and it's so easy to use. It's like tape white out. You just press down and it lays down strips of glue just like this. And so I'm using it to attach that white paper onto the backing so that I have a nice white background for my tissue paper to be decoupaged on top of. This is the big jar of decoupage glue that I found at Walmart a long time ago. It's lasted me forever, but Mod Podge is the same thing, or even just regular Elmer's glue watered down with water, that makes the same stuff. So I did a thin coat onto the backing. Then I carefully laid my tissue paper on top of the decoupage and tried to minimize wrinkling, press it down, push out as many air bubbles as you can, and be gentle because it is tissue paper and it will tear. Then of course the last step is to put everything all back in place. Put your glass back in. You may clean it with Windex before because oh my gosh, when you get a final project and you realize that your glass is all smudgy, you gotta take it back apart, just go ahead and clean it now. And then put your tissue paper, oh, make sure it's very dry before you put your tissue paper design back inside. I'm using this as a tray on my coffee table to display my candle and some little whatnots and trinkets, but I also could see this used in a bathroom with little jars of cotton balls and Q-tips. This can be recreated with any picture frame, and all you need is that tissue paper from the Dollar Tree and some white paint, and you've got something so pretty for spring. That's it for the thrift flips today. I hope you enjoyed them all and got inspired to go check out your Goodwill, go check out your thrift stores and see what you can revamp and make beautiful for your own home. Make sure to check out the playlist down below and see what everyone else made. Bye.